This topic is called factoring a perfect square trinomial. It doesn't really have to be its own topic. If you know how to factor a trinomial, you should be able to do this, but the reason why they like books and then like the Alex software tends to list it separately is that it's a pattern. And if you can get used to the pattern, you'll be able to factor something really quick. So here is a perfect square trinomial. What makes something a perfect square trinomial? We have a perfect square here, obviously. Perfect square here. That means that 7 times 7 gives you 49. In the middle term, 14x is the square root of 49 is 7. Well, if you double this, that's what you get for your middle term, basically. That being said, you don't really need to know any of that. If I just asked you to factor this the same way that we were doing them in my video, how to factor a trinomial, you would say, what times what gives you 49? Well, you got 49 and 1 and 7 and 7. This plus sign asks you to add whichever pair works to give you 14. And that's exactly 7 plus 7 will give you 14. So when you go to factor, you'll put a 7 here, a 7 here. The 14 needs to be positive. So there you go. Let's do another one. Another perfect square trinomial is 16x plus 64. Again, square root of 64 is 8. So I doubled it to put the 16 as my middle term. And the way it factors out is you end up with 8 and 8. So you start to see the pattern. For here, x squared plus 16x plus 64 factors to this. You could also rewrite it as x plus 8 squared. And then this one here you could rewrite as x plus 7 squared. Let's look at a couple others. Alright, myself a little more room. Let's say that we have x squared minus 20x plus 100. Again, the square root of 100 is 10. And I doubled it to give us 20. The only difference with this one is that negative sign. When we go to factor it, 10 times 10 will give us 20, but the 10s need to be negative so that we get our negative sign here. So we can rewrite it as x minus 10 squared. So hopefully you're starting to realize the pattern so that if you ever notice that you end up having a perfect square trinomial, you can immediately just jump in and there's your answer. If not, it's really not that big a deal, but if you're big on patterns, you're good at picking them up, you're good at remembering what the patterns are, this can save you a lot of time. Let's do this one. Actually, let me make that a minus sign just to have it a little bit different. Again, right away, if you can remember the pattern, bam, you're really good. Again, if you don't and you just know how to factor a trinomial, there's no way you can fail. So either way, if you just follow the normal rules of factoring a trinomial, you'll get the answer. If you know the pattern, you'll get the answer. So it's a win-win situation.